Hi, everybody.
No, I'm not buying this.
What now?
No.
Your face, you're so serious.
Look, feeling bad is necessary sometimes.
Maybe.
Look, she thinks the topic for today is going to be that feeling bad, is it necessary?
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's find out.
Now, okay, so for clarification, first of all, I'm not saying as a human being we reach a point where we never feel bad. Maybe we do, I don't know.
Mhm.
But so I'm not saying you never, so it's not about never feeling bad. It's about staying in the bad feelings. Is there ever a reason to continue feeling bad? And it's also, of course, not judgment or criticism. You know, if you choose to stay bad, to feel bad, you choose to feel bad, and that's okay. But I think the most important thing is that it's a choice. And
Well, if feeling bad, I mean, it's not a choice. I mean, people die.
yeah,
Okay, people die. People lose jobs.
mm-hmm.
Whatever.
Right. So again,
is that a choice?
Well, again, it's not a choice in the first instance, because of course, when bad things happen, that's the nature of the human experience.
Yeah.
And when bad things happen, we automatically feel bad, and that's normal, that's natural, that's human. Where the choice comes in is what we do then, what we do when we notice it. So, for example, let's say someone dies, and it's a normal human thing to feel bad. But here's a good question to ask yourself. If you die, would you rather your loved ones, when they think of you, they feel pain, missing, longing, guilt, regret, all of those kind of things, or would you, and suffering, or would you rather, when they think of you, feel they're feeling love, appreciation, admiration, or just connection, wonderful memories, so they feel warm and fuzzy and love when they think of you? Or would you rather them feel pain? So it's not about not feeling anything. It's not about, somebody dies and you don't care. That's not it. It's replacing pain with love and appreciation. So you're still thinking of the person, you still have that connection with them, but you've got more of a connection because you're feeling love instead of separation. So that's that one.
Well, yeah,
You got another one?
wouldn't you say that there's a necessary amount of grief or a necessary amount of bad feeling that needs to go along with that?
Now that
to get over somebody.
Well, okay, here's an analogy. So if you're feeling cold and you have a coat and you think, how long do you want to stay cold before you put on the coat? Is there a necessary amount of time that you should stay cold before you put the coat on? Or do you just go, you know what, I'm cold, I'm going to put a coat on because I want to get warm. Now, some people will wait until they're shivering, go, oh, right, I'll put the coat on. And that's okay as well. But the point is, it's a choice. So somebody I love dies, how long should I feel bad? Yeah, as long as I choose to. Let me finish though. because here's the thing. How long should I wait before I change the pain to focusing on my love for that person, my love, my appreciation? So how long should it take for me to think of that person and feel, I love them so much, I appreciate the time we had together, love and appreciation, instead of,
and I think that's one of the points that we're trying to make, is that it may be a completely new thought or a new concept to recognize that you actually do have the power to change that and to get out of those bad feelings.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because what it feels like when you're in that really bad state is, I don't have any power to control this negative feeling. I don't have a choice. It's just happening. This circumstance is happening out there. It's happening to me. I'm feeling bad. It automatically happens. I don't have a choice. So it's not whether or not it's necessary. It just happens, and I can't control it.
Right. And so, which brings us to where we were wanting to go with this video. Well, we wanted to give you a tool, and some of you already know about it. We want to just clarify it. And it's something I came up with a couple of years ago now, I think it was, and I call it zero tolerance. And it's about having zero tolerance for feeling anything other than what you want to feel. So now, you know, for some people, and I used to be like that, feeling bad and having a good cry feels good in a way. You know, kind of, you get some kind of relief or some kind of, you know, not reward, but, you know, you get something from it and you feel better afterwards. Now, and that's okay, and you can choose that. I changed it because I don't need it. You can feel good all the time. There's no reason to feel bad. So if you choose to use the tool, this is about catching it immediately and changing your focus. Now, the fact is that emotions are happening inside you, and they're chemicals. It's the sensations of the effects of chemicals inside you, produced by your brain and your organs. They don't come from outside of you, and it's your reaction, your response to whatever's happening. So we've got a woodpecker. We've literally got a woodpecker on the window outside. That's the knocking you can hear. So I've been thrown by the woodpecker now. So the truth is, so here's what happens. Where you put your focus is what determines the chemicals that are being produced, and therefore the emotions you're feeling. If you think of something happy and wonderful, you'll notice you start to feel happy and wonderful. If you think of something bad, you'll notice you start to feel bad. Stress chemicals that create so-called bad emotions are designed to keep us alive. They're part of the fight, freeze, flight response. So they are stronger than endorphins and oxytocin and serotonin. Stress chemicals are stronger because they're necessary for survival. So that's why it can take longer for changing your focus to have the effect. But if you do it as soon as you notice it and you do it regularly, you build the ability and the skill to do it. So for example, I start to feel a little bit anxious. Now, as I don't have any choice as long as I'm not aware of it, of course, it just happens. But as soon as I become aware of the fact that I'm feeling anxious, so I know I think something's wrong, that's when I have a choice of whether I buy into that anxiousness and I start thinking of reasons for it and focusing on those, and I remember past experiences, or I choose, okay, it's just a chemical reaction in my body. My heart rate's increasing. It's an automatic thing. There's nothing really, my life is not in danger right now. So I choose to put my focus onto, I watch a comedy video, I listen to music, I go for a walk or a run, do some physical exercise, I play a game, I watch some inspiring talks on YouTube. I do something to pull myself out of that state, because being in that state doesn't solve any problem. The only reason, the only benefit of being in that state is if my life is in current immediate danger and I need to run away or fight or pretend to be dead.
Yeah, I was thinking about that necessary component, that feeling bad. I think about, the times that feeling bad is actually, it's motivated me to do something.
Yes.
I felt really awful, or I felt really angry, or, it's like, I just feel so bad that it's finally motivated me to doing some action. So It feels like, well, that was a necessary thing for me to feel that bad in order to get myself to feeling this good now.
That's right. And that is a very common thing where people, especially for people who say they work best, for example, best under pressure.
So, I always said that.
I have to have a deadline, in order to be productive. And
Absolutely.
that's probably the case right now. And that's okay to continue that way if you're happy with it. If you want to change it, you can.
Yeah.
It's not necessary. It's just the way it's working at the moment. And because the thing is that you can, so I'm just trying to think, if you are in a situation and you decide, I don't want to be, I don't want to be here. Let's say I'm in a job that I don't like. Now, I don't have to get to a point where I'm feeling bad in order to change jobs. I could just think, you know what, I prefer to do that. And then I could leave and do that anyway. You don't have to wait until you're feeling bad to be motivated to do something. Now, of course, the subconscious programming that you have is what is putting you in that situation that where you've developed that skill of, I have to wait until it's, got to, until I've hit rock bottom before I can motivate myself to move forward. But that programming can be changed so that you're acting out of, I want to be there instead of, I don't want to be here.
And that statement of, I work best under pressure. The truth was, I just worked under pressure. I finally got something done when the fear of not getting it done got strong enough. So yeah, it really is about the previous references that we hold about something, that prompts us into that reaction. So we can't have a reaction to anything in the moment unless we've had some previous reference for that. So the feeling bad is in reaction to something that's currently happening in our life, to a situation that's currently happening right now, is only there because there is some previous reference for it.
Yes. And see our other videos and our website for how to change those references if you would like to change. So you can live a life where you are feeling good almost all of the time. Obviously, stuff happens, things happen that we have no control over, but what you do have control over is your own response to it, how you feel about it, and where you put your focus as soon as you become aware of it. So zero tolerance is about catching it immediately, not waiting. In fact, the earlier you catch it, the easier it is to switch your focus and to change your chemical state. Because in every moment that you are focused on the bad thing, or whatever's triggered you, it's like a tap is running and the stress chemicals are pouring into your bloodstream. The earlier you catch it, and so the first sign of a negative thought or feeling, you notice it and you immediately make that choice. What can I do to change my focus? What can I focus on now? Something that's going to make me feel better. That means the earlier you're turning off that tap and switching on the tap of endorphins, which is not as strong, it's not as fast, so it'll take longer, but at least you're doing it. And science has discovered that it only takes 60 to 90 seconds for your chemical state to change if you're able to keep your focus off the bad thing
and
for
catch it
that
soon
period
enough.
of time and catch it soon enough.
Right.
So
yeah, if you don't allow yourself to go down that road and get yourself really worked up about something.
Right. And it's about reminding yourself it's literally just chemicals.
Yeah. Just a couple of comments, if I can throw that in. Kim makes a good point that choice, and this was earlier in the talk, but choice has to be made daily for a while. You really have to work at choosing the state that you're wanting to focus on.
Right, absolutely. Thank you. And it, just like if you decide to get fit, you decide to get more healthy, you will have to consciously make that choice to exercise or to what you're choosing to eat for a while. And if you keep that consistently, it then becomes normal, and then you're doing it automatically, and it becomes your authentic, natural self.
Yeah, and just,
this is the same.
I think just to kind of highlight one of the things that you were saying, Darlis, is almost every day I have to pull myself out. Sometimes it is brief and therapeutic and cathartic, as long as I don't pitch a tent there.
yes, don't pitch a tent. Very good. Yeah, and the biggest thing that I want to get across is it's your choice. And that's it. So some people will say, I want to feel a little bit sad for a while, and then I'll pull myself out, and that's absolutely okay. There's no judgment, there's no right or wrong, there's no shoulds. But the main thing is to recognize your own. So this is about empowering. This is about empowering you to say, I choose how I feel. I choose where I put my focus, which means I choose how I feel, because where I put my focus determines how I feel. And as long as you're recognizing that, that's great, because you have the power.
Yeah. And I
just want to say, and then you're not at the mercy of other people and other things and events that are happening.
Yeah. And I was just looking, just to kind of back up a little bit, maybe just the discussion about grief and loss, but Ben says, for me, grief is about missing presence of loved ones.
Right. Now, that's a good
recalling their suffering makes little sense.
Yes, but now also very good point, Ben, and I'm not sure if this is how you meant it, but thank you for bringing it up, because it brings up another point, is that when you feel the presence of a loved one, where are you feeling it? So if like Steve is right next to me now obviously I could touch him, but what my emotion, that's a physical feeling. My emotions are happening inside me. They are not on the outside.
Yeah.
They are chemicals. So when I feel love, when I feel Steve's presence, that's happening inside me. And I can recreate that when he's not here, because my subconscious doesn't know the difference between reality and imagination. So you'll find that if you love someone or a pet or, an activity even, if you love someone or something, if you take a deep breath, close your eyes, clear your mind, and then think of that person or thing as if you are with them, you'll get the same reaction in your body. You'll get the same emotional reaction, same chemical reaction. So when you lose someone, they could be in the next room. They could be on holiday. Just because you can't see them in the room with you, doesn't have to mean that they're dead, even when they are. So, or that they're gone. As far as your subconscious, your conscious mind knows, yes, but your subconscious, as far as your subconscious is concerned, they could be on holiday. They could be in the loo, So what we want to reiterate is it's about replacing the pain with love and appreciation, not about forgetting the person. It's replacing it with love and appreciation, and admiration.
And Joan asked a question about vigils, attending vigils for people.
Right.
Sometimes it's brief. Oh, no, sorry, lost the thread there. Attending various people, vigils this week.
Okay.
Vigils are positive. Would you agree?
It depends. So it depends on how you're feeling. So if you are attending a vigil and you are feeling loss and pain and, longing and missing and all of that, then it's not about right or wrong. It's about then you're producing stress chemicals in that moment. If you are attending a vigil and you're thinking of how much you love the person and how much you appreciate them and what you admired about them, then you're producing endorphin, serotonin, oxytocin, all feel-good chemicals that are having a positive effect on your body as well as your mind.
Right. And I know that we've had some, this discussion has kind of morphed a little bit in a couple of different directions than where we initially set out. But I think that as we're kind of pulling this back and wrapping it up, I think the important thing to remember is that it's all about choice. It's
about choice, and and where you put your focus is what you are. It determines the chemicals your brain and organs are producing, and that determines how you feel.
So
and you control your focus.
So is it necessary to stay in a negative chemical state? I think that we would concur that it's not necessary.
It's not necessary, but sometimes you may want to. Sometimes a person may choose to, but it's not necessary. Right. All right. Very good.
And I think that
see our website for more information on.
If you're following up and you're watching this on YouTube, always check the description below. If you have any further questions or comments, leave those below as well. And we'll see you again next week.
Bye.